and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am. Hello there, beloved Ascension pioneers, and welcome to this video where I will share with you a very important information and also a light activation that comes through the presence of our I Am and the invocation of the sacred violet flame. So I haven't talked about this for quite a while, and I remember in the beginning of my video, kind of career, I actually talked about the I Am presence in this a lot. But then so much of other information overflooded, the mainstream of everything I wanted to share with you, so that when I actually meditated on what should be from the highest realms of illumination which I serve, sort of like a meditation of the utmost importance for us in this year, in 2018, of course, and beyond, I was shown a very simple and yet very profound, very deep, very impactful meditation or a light activation tool from on high. I wanted to share this with you today, but first I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of this work, because for the past 3 days I have been deeply invoking this, and it has really showed, because I've seen the results of it, and I've seen the difference, from when we come from this perspective of, wow, this is so intense, what's happening, why are they polluting and chemically polluting our planet, our atmosphere, everything, to the perspective of how powerful we can be through the invocation of our I Am and the sacred work we're given, we're offered, and we can utilize, of course, through our powerful work of light. Again, I want to share why I call people who are specifically here to serve as light beings rather than light workers, because for me there's such an importance to discern that this is not a work in terms of labor. This is a work of devotion. And when I say light beings, I truly mean people who have actually activated their light body and are starting to master and utilize this gift of life force infusion, how Spirit gives me as an offering of sacred words. So this translation of light that can occur through our bodies, of course, demands the embodiment process of our soul. And as well as so many people would like to think that just because you're human, just because you're alive, you have a soul embodied in your body. And a lot of people who are very fragmented, they don't. So it's almost like I've read recently in one of the books that the soul kind of stands stands next to you rather than being fully in your body, in your body's presence, especially when there's activities chosen that have a very harmful and in a way negative effect on your own body and the choices you're making, and of course how they influence others as well. So it's very important for what I will share with you today to understand how the mastery of the soul embodiment needs to be present for us to participate, to undertake such processes. So in my own example, when I retreat for a few days, sometimes even weeks, and I'm not so outwardly shown or presented in the external world, and I don't share that much physically, it's because I'm integrating new waves of energy. And recently, for the past few days, the energy has been so intense, and I've just felt it, and a lot of people felt the symptoms as well. And just today when I woke up, I heard the words, well, this integration wave is now complete, and I feel these things in my body. So this is when this participation with life force is needed most intensely and intrinsically in this process. So when you're guided to participate in that way, more than externally sharing, offering your gifts, sharing it with others. So you have to understand these cycles of how life force presents itself through you, through the infusion of the Holy Spirit, which is our sacred feminine aspect of the Mother, Father flame, the flame of God, divinity of all, the source of all life. So today I want to also share that it's really important to invoke the I Am presence. And recently I was blessed to encounter a video blog series from Patricia Cota-Robles. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but these are truly beautiful blessings of Spirit. And I recommend for all of you who resonate with my videos of illumination to consider watching those blogs, because they're really beautiful. And I think her work is called The Era of Peace. And these blogs address everything from our I Am Presence, the work of the light, sacred violet flame, humanity's turmoil presently, and what actually makes us choose what we're choosing. What are some of the divine decrees happening in this time? How are we participating? Also about volunteer souls, what I share with you as well in my own work. And this resonates because it's also an information that comes from illumination, which is very rare for me to witness in the external world of online communities and sharing. So I want to extend that to you as well, because it really has brought me into an even deeper alignment with my own mission at the very core of the Christ at Heart of One. So as I was contemplating on this meditation, I was seeing how important it was for us to become these intensified vessels of spirit. And I'll talk about the amplification within the divine plan in my next video, because this is more about the light work itself. So I wanted to share with you that through my own experience, everything I do, I need to witness it first. I need to have a hand-on practice in my own embodiment to see the results. And then when I have that integration present, I then extend this offering to all of you as, you know, my extensions as well, because we are all one. So I've seen these results in the couple of past few days, and I've seen how the inner alignment with this light gets us into a more profound state. It gets us out of this feeling of powerlessness and, you know, how little we can do, because it's also overwhelming. And it gets us into this empowered state of getting really, it's almost like excited, because each breath we take is a next step of illumination and a next step of sharing our gift of divine love with the world. Sometimes it's more an inwardly process, and sometimes it's what we share with others in communion and community. So when I have my inner silence moments and I'm just so withdrawn, I know it's for a reason. And we have to know these states of integration, because it's always a specific requirement for us to master a certain level of embodied integration, so that we can have a greater clarity or profound understanding for what's taking place next. Because as I've shared with you before, we're never shown things, you know, prior to the integration itself, because then the mind could get too involved and it would create more of a distraction for us, because the mind can still function on the memories of the past. And it's the habitual patterns of ego, although ego is no longer in that control as we used to understand, you know, in the humanities process. But there's still habits that are functioning from that perspective, and they're still held sometimes within the body. So the more the soul is embodied, the less this is so. And that's why the soul embodiment process is so important. So when I will share this meditation with you, I would like to ask you to always, whatever you do, invoke your I Am Presence, and to show you where you are and how much of that capacity you're currently holding, so that this work of light does not in any way you know, overburden, you know, overwhelm your body, because not all people have fully integrated the unified chakra column yet. Not all people have activated the white flame in this ascended version of ourselves, which is an illumined form. And so we can't always do certain things within our capacity before taking the next step of our soul embodiment. So I always tell you, this is an infinity symbol process. You need to go and take in that divine information, take it into the outside world of creation, then you can bring it back. So that's how source creation flows. So as I've also witnessed in the material of those blogs, you know, there's this higher understanding that tells us that we can't carry things back to our source nature when they don't have a certain threshold of light or vibratory existence. It can be within a lowered frequency, can exist in a lowered state, that which came to us as the life force of divine, or, you know, the same or higher frequency has to be expanded and reached in our integrative process, so that it can travel back inwards and complete the cycle. So that's why when people forget about the integration process, they won't have the same results, or sometimes they will feel that the body symptoms that start to follow the process get too overwhelming, because we can't integrate. So it's almost like, imagine holding a certain level of electricity in your body that you're not capable of currently, current through yourself. So the current is too intense, and it just gets intense for the body. I'll talk about this amplification process in the next video, but I want to share with you now the meditation that I've received. And I want to specifically also mention that there are certain tools you can use to enhance the work. So for me, it's always crystals. And you can use, of course, the power of voice as well, toning, anything like that. But I want to show you some of the crystals that are really powerful for the work, simultaneous work with the violet flame, or the sacred violet fire, which is a gift from the divine. So we have here ametrine, which is citrine plus amethyst together. Then we have auralite, one of the most powerful ones, and I think I'm wearing one as well today, because when I do this work I need to have it on. I have fluorite, because it's such a clarity kind of crystal. It clarifies the energy, the mental fields, specifically the distorted mental fields, and as you can see here, has its waves of energy pulsating through. Then we have, of course, smoky quartz, because that's one of the best crystals to purify. It even has what it's called a smoky quartz, the smoke itself, as an extension of the fire energy. Fire, spiritual fire, purifies everything and anything. So this invocation, or light activation, or meditation, is actually very simple. And yet it has to be followed through specifically, so that the results will be received within a highest light of attainment, of course, within our illumined nature. So as we open ourselves to become these vessels for spirit, like I said, we need to understand that there needs to be simultaneous integration of the soul embodiment process. So anytime you open up to a certain level of light extension, then you need to find a way to integrate it. So it's always simultaneous process of involution and evolution, which is the in-breath and out-breath of life. It's the basic cosmic law in itself. So once you find this rhythmic connection within yourself, and you are guided to become a vessel for this selfless divine service, you have to know it has to be unconditional. It has to flow through life force. And when sometimes the body shows you it's not yet ready, you have to pay attention as well. Again, I'll talk more about this in the next video segment, which will be more informational. This is more meditational. So I want to say that as we begin, we always invoke the presence of our illumined self, or our core creation self, or our I am presence. So sometimes we talk about that we are pure consciousness, but that's a too unlimited and broad term for us to be specific into who we are as in our sacred divine self, which is the original divine creation blueprint for ourselves, for our unique being, because although we're one, we have a unique specific tonal attunement, or the I am presence, which is the spirit self, that bursts forth our soul of uniqueness into creation itself, and then it travels through different wavelengths of density. And these wavelengths of density have their own experiences and receive vibrational alignments, and then they send forth back these emanations as informational, pathway that travels always in both ways in the infinity symbol formation. So anywhere we are currently, vibrationally, we, of course, have the gift to always expand more, to increase our vibration. And like I said, again, that has to come with the understanding that this has to move gradually through our body. But as we open up to this selfless service to the light, this process will get very graceful. It will become very automatic, because our I am presence, our highest attunement of source creation self, already knows what is for our highest good, how much we can receive, how much we can emanate, how much of a vessel we are. So it's an automatic process. So when we invoke the I am, we are already simultaneously affirming that that which is for the highest good is already moving through us in that unlimited flow of the capacity of our soul embodiment. Okay, so let us begin now with this understanding that we hold in our hearts, in our awareness space, with the meditation. So when you do this meditation, you do not just do it for yourself. You do it in the name of all humanity. You do it in the name of the entire planet, all life in creation. So the gift of you and your highest attunement is the gift to all life. So it's as simple as that. Also, when we invoke our I am presence and the I am presence of, let's say, all humanity, or, you know, all life on this planet, all life in creation, we're simultaneously, instantly moving into the flow of oneness, because we recognize that our I am presence is one with the I am presence of all. So, in this meditation, we will be, in a way, becoming a vessel for this highest light of sacred purification. But we also have to understand that if it's too much, when we create this vortice, you know, this field, this inner vortex, for those beings that they have not yet achieved full integration of the soul embodiment, this might get too overwhelming and too intense. So when you invoke the I am presence, it will know how much it can flow through you. But listen, of course, to your own inner voice that tells you this is right for you, because it might get too intense. So if in any way something feels like it's dizzy for you, or the body doesn't feel right in any way, you can say, you know, in any way that you specifically request an attunement that is right for your body, the frequency of your body held at this specific time in the now. And that you request this alignment, that it suits your body, that it's appropriate for you and your embodiment process. So let us begin. Take a deep breath and invoke this at the very beginning, that you are that uniqueness of source, and that through this sovereign uniqueness you choose to act on the behalf of highest good for all. I am my I am presence, and in the name of I am, I call forth for the light of the violet flame. In this light, I am one with the I am presence of all humanity and all life in creation. I am one with the infinite life force and the divine creative process through which it translates through me, creating a life force infusion for divine service to all life in creation. The infusion of all life, the highest level of divine perfection and purity and form. As you have invoked that, feel within yourself a spark of your I am presence igniting a state of complete awareness of illumination in your physical form, and feel a space of deep gratitude for that awareness. Now feel how that spark, that diamond light, that pure crystalline light awareness starts to, with this self-awareness, initiate a process of this life force infusion. Now feel how, through this knowing, your chakra column gets activated, starting from your base chakra, moving in a spiraling form of the Kundalini Shakti serpent of life, moving through and through, enveloping all of your chakras, moving to the top of your head, reaching the point of illumination and extending outwards into the awareness of the group collective, the planet itself, the galactic level, universal level, and all that is held within the cosmic unity of light. Now again, invoke the sacred violet fire. In the name of I am, I invoke the light of the sacred violet flame to blaze and purify through me, so that all that is discordant, miscreated, and egoic in its nature be held within the light of illumination and translated through this liquid light of Source. Now see how this spinning chakric column that is unified within you starts to pulsate in this highest frequency that your body is currently capable of holding within your soul embodiment process. Perhaps you might notice a tingling sensation, or you will start to spin because the electrons in your body will start to move and to get ready to become receptacles of this light infusion. So these receptacles now, they start to act together in this unifying field, and they will start to act as this column of light or a vortex formation, extending in this triangular form, moving from the top of your head in the crown alignment and moving to the pinpoint of your base chakra. So now you see that this sacred violet flame, which is through and all around, starts to overflow into your column or your vortex of light, and starts to completely consume your inner vortex that you have created as this vessel for the life force infusion. At this point, you might state that whatever flows through you is an infusion made from the merge of spirit and matter in complete unison, so that your soul embodiment process is fully aligned with this infusion of light, so that this may happen effortlessly without any discordant side effects or anything that might be overwhelming for your body and the capacity that it currently holds for this process. Now see how this light of the violet flame moves through the column of light ever deeper into your inner vortex, so that you yourself are becoming the highest antenna and both vessel, like a container for this liquid light that now travels in a spiraling formation that looks like this, V-shaped, all the way down through your crown into your base chakra, through your unified chakra column of light. When you feel that you're ready to maximize this potency in your base chakra, take a deep breath to your pelvic area and gather the energy with this in-breath. When you reach the pinnacle of a state of illumination and you feel that your soul sends you a signal, you will know when you're ready. Then just release this, and the opposite formation, moving from V-shaped as a vessel into the state of looking like a blade. And now move this with the out-breath powerfully down into the sphere of the planet itself, all the way reaching the planetary core, the core of Gaia, where it gathers itself in the pinnacle of light, the highest capacity and potentiality, where you will also see an infinitely moving and flowing golden spiral of the infinity in a loop, where information is being gathered, synthesized, and sent back up. This is the point where life constantly gets this impulse. The planetary life force gets an impulse, gets informed by all the collective choices, decisions, emanations of light from all of us, all life forms on the planet itself. So with this infusion of light, we are assisting that this impulse of life gets stronger, rejuvenated, purified, intensified, magnified. And in this way, we're not just acting as a vessel, but we're also helping to purify, potentialize, and magnetize, which becomes a magnification process of this infusion. And we see now at the core of Gaia, our infusion of light moving back, creating an infinity loop, moving back to the surface, traveling back to the surface, informing all planetary life with a new waveform, with a new impulse of life, which is deeper, more illumined, purified, and crystalline. So with the power of the I Am and divine grace through the sacred violet flame and your devotion to serve through your own embodiment process and the infusion of life force, you are assisting the whole in a profound way. And now you see this impulse of light traveling throughout the whole planet, coloring it all violet and crystalline, traveling through all life forms, through oceans, rivers, forests, mountains, into the lower and upper atmosphere, the stratosphere, reaching out, moving towards our sun, the whole solar system, connecting, anchoring into the whole of the galactic nature of our existence, aligning more and more this profound truth of illumination here and unified within all. You can repeat this, absorbing, translating, anchoring, and then unifying and coming back, emanation process, as many times as you like. Just feel the depth, the profound nature of the feeling, of the spark of life that it activates. Each time causing a greater tidal wave of life force infusion, which is accompanied, of course, through the purification process of the sacred violet flame, so that any discordant energies may dissolve along with this process. So thank you again for participating in this meditation, life force activation. As I have shared with you before, there has never been a time when life force work gets more important than now, as in rooting it into the planet and co-creating with the planetary life force itself. So up until this point, we have been gathering, we have been opening up, we have been awareingly communing with the I Am Presence, with our God, Goddess self, our spark of life. And now it's time to truly unify through the embodiment process as well. And I myself have created many tools that will help you along this process, which are the tools for life force mastery and becoming an Illumined One in physical form. So thank you for participating. You can get all these tools on my webpage, Serapina Light. I'll talk to you soon in my next video. Until then, so much love, wisdom, and power, and divine blessings to all. Thank you for being here with all of us.